So a big part of your mechanical systems are the mechanical equipment. So I'm in a blank file here, and I'm just going to show you what mechanical equipment we're using. Now you can find all of this stuff in a similar form in the Imperial Library, and I'll show you that first. But I've also uploaded a few of these families to Canvas under a schematic title, so that you can know that this is still sort of a schematic preliminary design. And we're keeping things really simple, and we're changing some of these dimensions, and I'll show you how to change them all so that we can have a really clean diagram model. So if you wanted to import these on your own, you could go to the Insert Load Family, or you can go to the Systems, and we're going to be using air terminals and mechanical equipment. Those are the two things you're going to have to load in. Let's go to Insert here and Load Family. And you can navigate here to the Mechanical Library. So this is going to be under your Revit 2021 library, the English Imperial. And in there, there's a mechanical folder. Now you have a couple options. There's MEP and architectural. Let's stay in MEP. And you have two main folders that you need to look in here. There's airside components and waterside components. Waterside components are things like cooling towers, boilers, and airside components are things like air terminals, AHUs, and heat pumps. So let's take a look at the waterside component first. So we're going to go to cooling towers, and you can basically choose any of these. The one that I used as the schematic model is this Counterflow 227 MBH. You can open that, or you can load in what I've uploaded to Canvas, which is the schematic design. It's titled Schematic Design CT Schematic. That's what it's called. And now we can go to Systems, Mechanical Equipment, and I'll just show you here. I'm just going to place this at the ground floor, and these place similar to any other object. They have a level constraint, they have elevation from those levels. That's really the only thing you have to pay attention to here. Now normally these come with a bunch of other things like voltage input and plumbing, and I've basically gotten rid of everything except this sort of exterior element. We don't really have to change any of this. We don't even have to change any of these sort of parameters here. All we have to change on the edit type, well, first we have to duplicate this because you might not have all of these options. So what I would recommend is duplicating it and creating your own, and call it like 7 by 9 by 15. Actually, this should be 7 by 15 by 9. And then you can see we have down here under the dimensions, we have tower width, length, and height. So I would probably change this width to 7 feet, the height to 9 feet. Whoops, that needs to be 9 feet, and the length will be 15. And these are very rough dimensions, so whatever Professor Brooks prefers, or what you've learned in your class, you can change them to the correct dimension. This is essentially all we need to do. So now I have a 715 by 9 under the CT schematic family. Let's take a look at the next mechanical piece of mechanical equipment here, and those are the AHUs. So for the AHUs, we've basically recommended 3 different versions. The first is one big unit, which supplies your entire building. That's going to be a fairly large unit. Then there's a unit that is slightly smaller, which serves probably 2 floors, and if you have a 4 or 5 floor building, you'll probably need 2 or 3 of these. The last one is a single floor unit, so you'll have a mechanical room at every floor, and it will be a much smaller unit. So I'm going to go through the creation of each of these. First we need to load one in. So again, I'm going to go to Insert, Load Family, or I can go to Systems, Mechanical Equipment, and Load Family. And the one that we're going to be using, if you want to find it on your library, is let's go here to the right folder. It's going to be under Mechanical again, MEP. It is an airside component, and here we have air handling units. One we're using as our base is this outdoor AHU, and I've simplified it a lot for you. And you can see here, let's load this family. It's on my desktop. It's under AHU schematic. So let's go ahead and open this up. Let's make sure I'm opening the right one up there. And we can place it. And you can see it's a little bit, it just has the wrong dimensions. Now you have it sort of in and out. Now don't really pay attention to the in and out. I think it can get confusing, and it might be how I sort of modified this, but just pay attention to the X and the dash or the slash. So the X means that's supply air. That's what is being pumped out of the system. And the in is the return air. So that's all the stuff coming back that needs to be conditioned. So we're going to edit some of these things here. So it's the same process for each of the different mechanical units. I'm going to show you how to do the one that would be used for each of the floors, so the floors individually. So I'm going to duplicate this here, and I'm just going to call this, let's call it small AHU. That would be about 5 by 5 by 8. And here the only things we first have to change are the width, the height, and the airway length. So the airway length is the total length of the machine, which would be 8 in this case. The AHU width would be 5, and so would the AHU height. So these are probably going to be square dimensions. These will be the same. Now the other thing we have to change here are the supply air out and the return air widths. I would probably change all of these to start off as 36. And again, just so you're not confused which one's which, I would probably keep these the same dimensions. The air coming in should be 36 inches, and the air going out should be 36 inches square on the duct. And that's about the size of your main runs. They can supply quite a lot of air. If you have a chase, you might want to change this to 48 inches so that you can supply multiple floors through this single AHU. But let's see what happens here. You can see it sort of squashes up a little bit. And now we have our AHU. So if you wanted to create a new one, so like if you have multiple different, if you have one in the basement and then you have one on the roof or something, but one needs to be smaller than the other, again, go ahead and change this after you duplicate this. Let's call it medium. And the medium, I think, would be, 8 by 8 by 12? That might be wrong. You might want to change that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do 8 by 8 by 12. And there you can see that the machine just kind of fattens up. So that's essentially it for the AHU and the cooling tower. The last bit of equipment that we need are our diffusers. So to get to those, we can go to Load Family. Again, we can go to our Imperial Library, and we can find under our Mechanical folder, MEP, Airside Components. It's going to be under Air Terminals. So the ones we were using are the Supply Diffuser and the Return Diffuser. Now these are both 2 foot by 2 foot diffusers with a 1 foot by 1 foot duct that comes out of them. And I'll show you all these dimensions in a second, but instead of loading these in, I'm going to go ahead and go to Systems, Air Terminal. It's going to tell me I don't have any, so I'm going to load some, and these are the ones I'm giving you. They're the schematic supply diffuser and the schematic return diffuser. Let's go ahead and load both of those. So here you can see a 24 by 24 face with a 12 by 12 connection. Let's place one of these diffusers. And you can see that, again, it places on a level, and you have sort of an elevation from this level. And this is one of the reasons why we created our plenum levels, because you can host it to those plenum levels, and you can modify those plenum levels to go up or down. You might even want to create one more level, which is the diffuser height. So you'll have the plenum or the duct height. So you can create 2 different levels that you can modify. You can align all of your ducts to, and you can align all of your diffusers to. But that's essentially it. I'm going to show how to connect these in the other videos. But those are all the families that you should need to load.